everybody. Happy Monday to you. Had my break. If you remember, I got home Saturday evening around 6:30, 7 p.m. We went to the lake Sunday just for an afternoon trip. Had a little fun, got some sun. Woo, it's hot down here. I don't know about where you're at, but it is hot here. And just to get the week started, just to remind you, this is the load I got. I picked this up in Buchanan, West Virginia, and it goes to a Weyerhaeuser distribution center in Carrollton, Texas. And my work order says they do not have overnight parking, but I called there this morning and asked for someone in receiving, and I got a guy who acted like he was really too busy to talk to me, but he said they had some parking like in a little sand lot, he called it, across the road. And I said, I'm thinking to myself, you know, I'm not gonna plan on parking in a sand lot since I'm not familiar with this place. So I waited about an hour and I called back and talked to somebody else in the office. By the way, I'm just walking around the truck checking my lights and tires, and I've already done part of my inspection. I'm just kind of double checking things. But anyway, I called back and talked to somebody in the office, and he told me, yes, that they have some spaces like along the front gate of the property and at the end of the road before the railroad tracks. So I'm gonna plan on getting there tonight. My appointment is for 8 o'clock a.m. Tuesday morning. So I'd rather get there tonight and be there and not have to drive into Dallas or Carrollton in the morning. So that's the plan. So about to hit the road. Got all my stuff moved over from my car. You can see the lot's pretty empty. Monday afternoon, you know, most people have already hit the road. This is kind of a late start for me, but since I didn't get home till Saturday evening, you know, that's how it works. So I'm gonna go down here to the Pilot, about half a mile down the road, and get fuel and then head to Texas. More later. Okay, folks, I've arrived at my customer here in Carrollton, Texas. It is about 8:30 p.m. just before it gets dark, so that's worked out really good. And I think I mentioned earlier before I left North Little Rock, you know, my work instructions said there's no overnight parking here, but I had called, talked to a couple of different people, and they told me, yeah, you know, there's a spot at the end of the road where you can park. So I got here and the traffic wasn't bad at all. I'm glad I did this instead of trying to do it in the morning. But let me kind of show you so you have an idea sometimes, you know, the kind of places you end up parking. And this should be okay. I think should be a pretty quiet place. But you know, I'm at the end of the road here. You know, I came down that road there, and we've got what we call a slinky place of some sort. They've got a bunch of slinkies over there in the parking lot. They probably make fence or something. Then a neighborhood right over there, and it looks like there's some sort of construction going on there. There are some railroad tracks right over there. I hope they're not real active. But yeah, there's this lot right here that you know, several trucks could get in here if need be. And then in the morning, I'll just have to make a wide turn right here. And look, they even have a pot of gold porta potty. That's very nice, in case I need it. But here's the entry gate right here. My appointment time is 8 o'clock, you know, so I don't know if that's when they start, or you know, if they actually go by appointments or what. But I'm the only truck here right now. But it's a pretty big place, you know. They got tons of this joist material I'm hauling. It's basically a distribution center for Warehouser. So anyway, in the morning I'll get up and as this sign says, call this number, and we'll take it from there. Here's some instructions. It says loads must remain strapped. Stay in your truck while being unloaded. They don't want you unstrapping. You got to wait till you get to the unloading area. Not allowed to climb on top of load or trailer. No phone use in the yard. You know, pretty strict safety rules. There's a sign over there, you know, about safety equipment, hard hat, safety vest, all that, you know, typical stuff for a place like this. All the bigger companies have strict safety guidelines, you know, because, you know, the more corporate they are, the more safety rules there are. But anyway, this is where I'm at. This should be good unless that train is real active, and then we may have a loud night. Here's a free bungee somebody left me. All right, so let me get back in the truck. Something I want to talk about. Okay, let me climb up in here. Just to cut down on any wind noise. Okay, so that's all worked out good. But I wanted to talk a little bit. Before I left North Little Rock today, I was kind of moving my stuff from my little car into the big truck. My fleet manager, Paul, called, and it sounded like he was just kind of doing a driver survey. That's the way I took it, you know, that he was calling his drivers and just kind of doing a little survey. And you know, he was one thing he wanted to talk about was, you know, to make sure that I understood the pay increases that we've had earlier this year and what that was going to mean for my projected yearly pay. So he told me what my projected yearly pay was, and you know, I had already kind of done some math on that and expecting that and happy with it. So he wanted to make sure I understood that. And you know, he asked me about, you know, some of my goals, you know, what do I have in mind for the future, you know, what do I want to do, you know. And I told him, hey, I'm enjoying driving right now. You know, my health is good. I think I could do this for many years to come, as long as my health is good, you know. And that's one reason why I stay with Maverick, because I live so close to the main office. If I decide that I don't want to drive anymore, or for health reasons maybe I shouldn't be driving anymore, then I could hopefully get a job there at the office or in the training facility doing something, you know. So I just feel, I mean, I only live like 8 miles from there, so it'd be really convenient. I probably live closer than most of the people that work there now. You know, and then he wanted to see if I had any, you know, what are the things I like, you know, about Maverick, you know, what are they doing right? And I said, well, you know, I'm satisfied with the pay and the equipment. I said the equipment Maverick provides us is important, and I really appreciate it. You know, we have nice new trucks. You know, after you've been out here a while and you see some of the, and you have friends, you develop, you know, friendships with people, and you see other drivers, you meet them, you appreciate that Maverick supplies us with these good trucks, nice trucks with the conveniences we have. You know, I don't worry about my truck breaking down. It's got an automatic transmission. It's got, you know, I'm very comfortable in the truck. You know, the mattress is good. I've got electricity. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. We have an EPU that supplies, you know, it's a battery pack. It supplies my electricity so I can have my TV, my microwave. I can run my heat and cool without having a generator running on the back, you know, so that's important. So I like that. And I said, let's see, what else was it? Oh yeah, that they get me home on the weekends. You know, that's those three things: pay, the equipment, and getting home on the weekends. And I told him I've learned to trust the fleet manager, the ALMs. You know, it doesn't always happen. You know, things happen, and you can't always get home. But you know, I've been doing this for 2 1/3 years solo now, and I've only been held out where I couldn't get home for the weekend, I think 3 times. So that's pretty good. And I told him, I said, you know, if I wasn't getting home on the weekends, you know, every couple months or something, you know, it wouldn't take a lot. You know, if I got held out even you know, once every couple of months, or it would ruin things. You know, I have a family. I'm married. I have grandkids, kids, parents nearby that I see every weekend when I'm home. You know, so it would mess things up for, you know, it would mess things up for me, you know, if I didn't get home. You know, that's, now other people, that may not be as important. Some people like staying out multiple weeks, and that's great. You can do that at Maverick if you want. They can accommodate that if that's what you want to do. I just like to get home on the weekends. And then he asked, you know, what can we do better? What kind of, you know, gripes do you have, if any? And you know, I had to think on it a minute, but the only thing that really came to mind was, you know, detention pay. I think, you know, the way detention pay works at Maverick is when you arrive at your shipper or your customer, and you know you're there for your appointment time or your window of time. The first 2 hours, if you're detained for, let's say, you know, if the first 2 hours you're there are on you, there's no pay. Detention pay kicks in after 2 hours, and then I think it's $15 or $17 an hour. I should have looked that up. I'm not sure. Somewhere in that range, 17 bucks, something like that. Like last week, I was at a place for like 4.5 hours getting loaded, and I ended up getting $45. So if I was there 4.5 hours, take off the first 2, I don't get anything for that. So I got roughly 2.5 hours, 45 bucks. So sounds about right. Anyway, he says, well, when do you think detention ought to start? You know, after an hour, or what? You know, what do you think? What's your recommendation? I think detention pay ought to start, you know, if you're there at your appointment time that's been set by the shipper or the customer or whoever, and they're not ready for you for whatever reason. Some places are run very well and are very efficient. Some places are not. But whatever the reason is, if you're there on time, I think detention pay should start immediately. You know, if you're there, and it's your time, you know, your clock is running. You can't make money because you're there sitting, waiting. You know, you can't make any money unless you're driving. I mean, yeah, you make side money for tarping and you know, breakdown pay and other things like that. But basically, you know, you got to be driving. So Now, I say all that about detention pay. I do think detention pay ought to start immediately. And I know people that work at places, and you know, they get paid for anything they're doing. You know, if they're not driving, they're getting detention pay, or work pay, whatever you want to call it. You know, if they're getting the truck washed, if they're waiting, loading, unloading, broke down, anything, you know, they're getting paid a pretty good rate. You know, I've heard $26 or higher. You know, it just depends. But now I say all this knowing that I'm satisfied with the overall way I'm getting paid. You know, I'm just saying that I think detention pay ought to start immediately. But you know, it's not something I'm all messed up about. You know, overall I'm happy with the pay. You know, because what you'll find is if somebody's paying you $100 for tarping and $35 an hour for detention pay, then they're probably making quite a bit less per mile than what I'm making, or what Maverick's paying us. So, you know, it's different ways, you know, to pay people. So as long as you're happy in the big picture, that's what is important, you know. But that was my only recommendation. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about that, you know, and let you know that, you know, the management at Maverick, you know, is concerned. They want to know how you feel about things. They want to keep you. They want you to be happy within reason. And you know, they're seeking feedback on how they can do a better job and make things better. And that's good. And I told Paul, you know, I appreciate him as a fleet manager. You know, I've learned to I told him I've learned to trust that he's going to take care of things. You know, earlier in my driving career, I used to worry and, you know, about the loads, or if I'm going to get home, or why are they sending me here, there, that doesn't make any sense. But I've learned now to just go with it and let them, you know, they're looking at all of that, you know, their needs and my needs, and they're looking at all that, trying, you know, sometimes they have a plan in place, load after load, that, you know, you don't know about. So just let them do their thing, and it usually works out. I've learned to just do that. Not always, but most of the time it does. So yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to share that. Hope I didn't ramble too much there. I am going to I've got some baked chicken breasts and some corn on the cob and potato salad. Fixed to have me some dinner and get some rest. Try to get unloaded here in the morning, and then we'll see where we go. I have no idea where I might go from here. I could list off a few places, but none are so common that I would say that's where I'll probably go. All right, see you in the morning.